Picture a perfectly climate-controlled room. Memory foam, artificial light, total physical safety. Yet down the street, someone is paying hundreds of dollars to sit in freezing water until their skin goes numb. Someone else is paying to have needles rapidly puncture their flesh for hours, leaving permanent ink. In our supremely safe modern environments, we have engineered physical discomfort out of existence. But the result is a pervasive sense of unreality. We feel numb. So we pay for pain to wake ourselves up. This is not a modern glitch. It is an ancient survival mechanism forged in the brutal bottleneck of human evolution. Biologically, this modern behavior is completely baffling. Pain is the oldest evolutionary alarm bell we possess. It is designed to signal tissue damage and imminent death. Avoiding pain should be our absolute highest directive. Yet people are flocking to 100-mile ultramarathons and grueling physical ordeals. Why does an absence of pain cause anxiety, while voluntary suffering provides a deep, almost euphoric sense of meaning? To understand this, we must look at the harsh realities of our ancient ancestors. In the ancient world, survival was strictly a team sport. If you were cast out of the band, you died. This absolute reliance on the group created a massive problem for early humans. The free rider problem. How do you know if the person sleeping next to you will share their food or run away when a predator attacks? Talk is cheap. Smiles are easily faked. Evolutionary pressure demanded an un-fakeable metric of loyalty. It demanded a costly signal. Enduring immense, voluntary discomfort became an evolutionary superpower. It was a visceral ledger of trust that proved your biological quality and your absolute commitment to the tribe. Step out of the modern world and imagine the sensory reality of a late Paleolithic initiation rite. The world outside the firelight is an indifferent abyss of cold, starvation, and apex predators. Inside the tribal circle, the air is thick with the smell of burning sage, rendered animal fat, and sweat. Childhood here ends abruptly. You are not granted the status of an adult simply because you survived 14 winters. You must earn your physical reality. You are stripped naked. The elders, individuals you revere and fear, approach you holding sharpened flint and glowing embers. Rhythmic, deafening drumming pushes your heart rate to a frantic pace. This is auditory driving, meant to overwhelm your senses. As the flint slices into your chest, the pain is blinding, white-hot, and all-consuming. The physical environment is terrifyingly intimate. You are bleeding and shaking, but you cannot scream. You must master the ancient primate urge to flee. By staying seated, by absorbing the agony while your tribe watches, the abstract concept of community is physically carved into your nervous system. The scars you carry away from this fire are not just wounds. They are your resume, your passport, and your identity. When a neighbouring tribe sees the specific geometric raised lines on your arms, they instantly know your threshold for suffering. They know your absolute integration into a collective. In this dark, primal context, you were not truly human until you had bled for the right to be. And the human brain evolved a brilliant neurochemical trick to ensure you would submit to this torture. Neurobiologists call it pain offset relief. To reward this group-binding behavior, the brain evolved to flood the body with endogenous opioids and dopamine the exact moment the painful stimulus recedes. Voluntary pain is not self-destruction. It is a biologically hardwired nervous system anchor. It forces the brain out of anxious rumination and slams it directly into the present moment, followed by a profound chemical high. This intense physical trauma bypasses normal memory and creates deep identity fusion. Anthropologists call these extreme actions credibility-enhancing displays. Because early humans were cultural learners, we evolved to only believe the rules of the group if the person teaching them paid a high personal cost. Anyone can claim a belief is sacred, but enduring severe pain for that belief system proves to the tribe that the conviction is real. It anchors the culture. The physical suffering becomes the bedrock of a shared reality. The sheer trauma of the pain makes the individual's sense of self indistinguishable from the group. Researchers analysing cross-cultural data have found a grim correlation. Societies with the most frequent warfare have the most painful and permanent initiation rites. The physical pain serves as an un-fakeable, costly signal to weed out cowards before actual combat. You endure the pain to prove you will not abandon the line when the rival tribe attacks. Pain is quite literally the physical glue that holds societies together. Modern psychology proves this ancient code is still active. Researchers brought strangers into a lab and subjected some of them to severe physical discomfort, like submerging their hands in ice water or eating extremely hot chilies. The groups that shared these painful experiences demonstrated significantly higher in-group bonding and cooperation in subsequent games compared to those given painless tasks. Shared pain mathematically increases collective trust. It is a neurosocial adhesive that comfort cannot replicate. But why are we so desperate to secure our place in the tribe through suffering? Because to our primate brains, isolation is physically lethal. Brain imaging studies reveal that social rejection and physical pain activate the exact same regions in the human brain. The somatosensory cortex lights up when you are excluded, just as it does when your tissue is damaged. The neurological agony of being abandoned by the tribe is identical to physical injury. We endure the flint and the fire because the alternative is evolutionary death. Even the biochemistry of deep social bonding is tied to this system. Evolutionary biologists have found that the endorphins responsible for human connection are actually natural painkillers. Ancient group rituals involving severe exertion and pain upregulate endorphin activity. This means the very neurochemical foundation for loving your family and trusting your neighbors is built on the exact same circuitry used to survive physical torture. Pain and love share the same hardware. This brings us to the profound tragedy of the modern condition. We are walking around with Pleistocene nervous systems that beg for a crucible, but we have dismantled the very social structures designed to hold us during the fire. Today, the systemic cost of carrying this ancient code is immense. Because modern society largely lacks sanctioned collective initiation rites, this biological drive turns inward. It mutates. We see it in the rising epidemics of people using physical pain to desperately anchor an anxious brain back into reality. We see it in the commodification of suffering. Corporate executives pay thousands of dollars to suffer in boutique cold plunges, sensory deprivation tanks, or brutal mud runs. They are chasing the profound clarity and reality that comes from pain offset relief. They want to feel the dopamine and the endogenous opioids flood their systems. They want to remember that they are animals, trapped in a frictionless, perfectly engineered world that demands nothing of their bodies. But the deep biological toll is that our modern pain is largely solipsistic. In the ancient world, you bled for the tribe, and when the pain was over, you were embraced, you were given a new name, and you were granted a secure, unshakable identity within the collective. The suffering had a profound, lasting social utility. It secured your survival. It made you real to the people who mattered most. Today, a man sits alone in an ice bath in his garage. He shivers uncontrollably, triggering the exact same endogenous opioid release his ancestors did in the freezing rivers of the last ice age. But when he gets out, he is still entirely alone. We are successfully chasing the neurochemical high of the ancient initiation rite, but we are doing it without the social integration it evolved to provide. The psychological friction of our era is that we are starving for meaning that only shared hardship brings. In our hyper-individualistic society, we are forced to suffer in a vacuum. We endure the needles, the freezing water, and the exhaustion just to feel the boundaries of our own existence. We pay for pain because it is the only thing left that makes us feel completely real. But without the tribe to witness our scars, we are just ghosts bleeding in the dark.